guys, welcome to my art channel. Thanks for stopping by to make some art with me. For more free art lessons, you could press the button below and subscribe right there on that red button. And I will see you really soon. Now let's get to making some art. Bye-bye. Hi guys, welcome. Today we are going to learn how to make this really cool, funky bird puppet that hooks onto your finger. So what you're going to need is a piece of cardstock, or if you don't have cardstock, you can use construction paper, and a few different sheets of color construction paper or colored printer paper. Neon color works great for this. A pencil, markers, crayons, and a good scissor. Okay, ready to go? The first thing we're going to do is create the actual body of the puppet. And to do that, you're going to take your paper and fold it in half the long way. You're going to take your cardstock paper. So when you're folding, you want to match up the corners the best that you can, because you want to get a neat fold. It's a little difficult with cardstock because cardstock is stiff, but that's okay. And then I'm just going to press my fold down a little bit. And so you should end up with a tent like that. Once you have your tent folded, I'm going to show you how to draw the bird, and then we're going to cut it out. So I have to think about this for a second because I have to do it upside down. I forgot about that. Hang on. I'm going to draw it really quick. Okay. That should help when I draw it upside down for you. Now you can do this in pencil, but I'm going to do it in marker so you can see it. You're going to draw on the top part near the fold, because what happens is you're going to use the top part as the puppet that's going to lie on your arm, and your finger's going to hook onto it. So draw on the top part. The first thing you're going to do is draw a curved line like that at the edge. So it's starting like almost in the middle of this end here and just going up, not all the way to the top though. Okay, once you have that, you're going to draw another line, because now we're drawing the beak, and we're going to draw a rounded beak, and it's going to kind of follow that line like that. Okay, so you have like two, and they're slightly curved lines. From there, we're going to make a bottom of a circle. Now this line does not hit the top of your page. The beak, where is it? The beak does come to the top of the page up here, that line here, but this circle does not. After you've made that little circle piece here, you're going to make a straight line about the width of 2 fingers. So that from here to here, like that. Just a little straight line. And then we're going to make another curved line from that line, and it's going to be long, and it's going to come to the edge of the paper, like so. Okay, like that. And then one last line is just a little line, because this is the feathers, and it's a curved line, like so. and that is the outline of the bird. If it doesn't look, yours doesn't look exactly like this, it's a little different, that is perfectly fine. Your bird is just going to be unique to your design, which is what we want when we make art, right? So from here, we're going to cut out this shape. Now, anything here you don't want to cut. We need to leave this uncut. The bottom is open, this is the fold. We don't want to cut up the fold. We're just going to cut following exactly the lines that we drew. So I just cut that top line here. I'm going to cut this curved line on top at the other end. That's the only part I'm going to cut. I'm not going to cut into the fold at all anymore. And I'm just going to follow these lines that I drew. Okay, once you're done cutting, you should have something that looks something like this along these lines. A rabbit maybe. Okay. And you can open it up a little because we're going to be decorating it. And I'm going to put the side that I drew on, the outlines on this side so you can't see it. The first thing we want to create is our loop. Under here, there's, see that green thing? That's the loop that we hold the puppet with, so we can move the puppet. Okay, so we're gonna form that loop by taking a strip of our cardstock, and it can be about, let's say, 4 fingers. I'm gonna cut it. It's about the length of 4 fingers. And then I'm going to take it and I'm just going to, actually I'll do it around a finger. You can curl it around your finger. And you're going to use your pointer finger to hold the puppet, or your middle finger. So this has got to fit around that finger. You don't want it too snug. And I'm just going to use a little bit of tape to close this. You can glue it closed. I think it'll hold better with tape, so I'm just going to put tape on that. If you don't have tape, you can glue it closed and then just hold it together until it sticks. And then double check that your finger goes in there, can fit in there like a little ring. Now I'm going to take my glue stick and in the middle of this round circle part, which is going to be the head of the bird, right where I put that X, you're going to put glue there. And you're going to glue down your little ring here, making sure that the holes are facing up toward the beak so you can fit your finger in it like that. And just hold it together. Make sure that the glue takes, so the glue will dry with it on. And I don't know if you could see that here. You'll be able to see the hole right through there. Okay, and we're just going to let that dry a minute. And while that is drying, you can decide what color you want to make the beak. So I'm going to use this orange color. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my bird on top of that piece of orange paper. And your beak can be any color. It could be hot pink, whatever you like. And I'm just going to trace my beak. And I'm doing this so I can cut it and it will fit very nicely onto my cardstock bird. So I just traced the beak part like this. And then I'm going to cut this out. And I'm going to take this beak, I'm going to turn this over so my finger holder is on the bottom, and I can glue my beak right on to my cardstock, like so. Then I'm going to add some glue stick. And I like to use the glue stick when I'm working with paper because the liquid glue will wrinkle the paper. And this dries much more quickly. And I could just press that down and give it a moment to dry, smooth out any bubbles in there. And when I fold my paper up, I'll have the beak of my bird. Okay, so I just want to make sure that I got all the edges, because the edges are the things that will pop up. And sometimes I just like to take the side of a marker and just press down, kind of press that glue and press the paper onto the glue like that. So it's going to look like that. But when you're finished with your puppet, it's going to look more like this. Now we can move along to the basic part of your wings and your body. And you could do wings in many different ways. I did some fringed paper and I also did some curls, and I'm going to show you how to do both. And I'm going to do the wings basically the same way that I did the beak. I think I'm going to start with black wings. I am going to turn my bird over, and I'm going to trace the wings onto the paper that I want to make into my wings. So I'm going to trace it onto the black paper. It's going to be hard for you to see because I'm doing black on black. Actually, I could do this. I'll show you with, oops, my handy dandy white Craypa. If I could find it, there it is. Okay, so I traced it out with my Craypa so you can see it a little bit better. This is the shape of the wings, and I'm going to cut that out of my black construction paper, and you can certainly use any color you want. So once you cut that out, you can glue it onto your wings with your glue stick. Now remember to do the edges first and very quickly do the inside, because the glue stick dries really quickly, and if you take too long, by the time you get to the second side, the glue will already be dry and it won't work. Okay, so now I have my beak and I have my basic wings. And I want to do some fun things on top of these wings. So I'm going to get some, I have some neon colors here. And I think I'm just going to cut out some feather shapes. A bunch of them to put on top of my wing. So this is just kind of an oval or an almond shape. And because I want a bunch of them, what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold my paper a few times. I folded it once, I'm going to fold it again, and then I'm going to fold it in half. And depending on how good your scissor is, I have a really good scissor. You might not be able to fold it as many times. When I cut it out, I will get a whole bunch of feathers at one time instead of cutting single feathers. But if you have the smaller scissors, then you probably will only be able to fold it maybe 2 or 3 times. So I have my feathers, and I am going to glue them around on the back of the wings. And I like this neon color on top of the black. It just really stands out. And some of my feathers here are going over the original wing, as you can see back here, which is fine. And I'm just going to do another layer of feathers in there. And your wings can be done in so many different ways. This is just one way to decorate them. This is another way, how I've done it here with the fringe and then these curly cues, which I am going to do on this because I like those. And it looks like I'm going to need a few more feathers, maybe 2 more feathers. And I've made some crazy looking wings there. I like those. And I want to add some curly cues. So the way I did these curly cues over here was I'm going to take the orange. I made some strips. Oops, sorry about that. I made some strips like this, and I'm going to cut this in half. And I think I'm going to make maybe 3 curly cues on either side. So that means I need 6 strips. I'm just cutting them from the scraps of my paper. So the way to make the strips is if you have a pencil and you just wrap that strip as tightly, around the pencil as you can. Like that, and then just pull the pencil out and you get a little curly cue. So I'm going to do that for 6 strips, 3 on either side. Whoops. Just going to curl it around my pencil like that, and then pull it off. There we go. Whoops. I have a little glue on my fingers, so they're still a little sticky. Just wrap it around. Just pull it out. And I need 2 more. And you can make these are kind of thick, you can make these thinner, you can cut these in half and make them much thinner. And so now I have my little curly cue strips, and I think what I'm going to do is put them around the edge, 3 on either side. Like that. That's kind of neat. That looks kind of cool right there. I'm going to do it on this side. And this paper that I'm using is actually just neon colored printer paper that I happen to have in the house. It's really nice and bright. I like it. Okay, so far, this is what I have going on. And he looks pretty wild. My finger here, my ring thing here that's going to hold my finger into the puppet, it's not really sticking that well. So I'm actually going to add a piece of tape in there. It's probably not sticking because I've been working on it and moving it around. I just want to add some tape in there to make sure it stays when I put the puppet on my finger. So that's better and a little bit more secure. There we go. Okay, I'm just going to clean off some glue. And now what I'd like to do is put some eyes. And you can continue to work on this. You can do so many things. You can color it with your markers. You can color it with your Cray-Pas. I might actually go back in with the Cray-Pas after, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make an eye like I did on this one. And I made this eye a little bit more stylized and more interesting than like a regular eyeball. It's a little bit more artsy and abstract. So that's how I'm going to do my eyes on either side. And I'm going to do it with the paper open so I can get an idea of the size of both eyes, so they're almost symmetrical. They're not going to be perfectly symmetrical. And then I'm just going to draw in my eyes. I'm going to kind of do what I did here because I liked that. So I drew the outside shape, which is kind of like an almond shape, and then I put 2 circles on the inside. And I'm going to make some decorations around it. Make it kind of unique. I don't know what kind of bird this is. My own imagination bird. And yours will be your own imagination bird puppet, right? Okay, so now I'm just going to go and take my Cray-Pas or my markers and do some of filling in the details and adding some extra color to my bird. So I'm going to start with the face. I might work on the wings a little bit, and I'm just going to think about where I want to have the different colors. And I guess this isn't the kind of bird that you see every day, so that gives me the freedom to make him as colorful and crazy as I want. I'm just going to add some more color and design to him on his wings. But I think I'm actually going to go to my Cray-Pas here. You can certainly use watercolors on here or any kind of tempera paint, even a little bit of acrylic paint if you wanted to. Just make sure that you're using heavy enough paper that if it gets water on it, it doesn't warp too much. So I'm just adding some bright Cray-Pas color to this already very bright paper, just to give it some extra something a little extra. Just adding a few little extra last minute details. And I'd like to add some hair on his head. And I'm going to do that by creating some extra hair with my, I don't think I need this many, just with my scrap paper. Oh, let's see. So I'm going to make some fringe. And to make fringe, you basically just cutting lines down the paper. You're just not cutting off those lines. You're just not cutting the edges. And I'm kind of going with the shape that's already on the paper here. So I have some fringe here, and I'm going to bend like every other piece of that fringe so they're separated a little bit. And then I'm going to figure out how I want to glue it to his head. There's a few ways to do it. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to cut it into two pieces and glue it on either side of his head. And I just did this, random quick cut to make some hair. And I'll glue it on either side, more like, I guess you could say, his neck and his top of his head. And then I'm just going to press it together so it sticks. Okay, this guy didn't stick so much because I have a little Craypa pot, and the oil from the Craypa sometimes makes the glue not stick so great, so well. So I'm just going to go back in there. And I think that's the last thing I'm going to do. You can certainly add more. You can go crazy. And here you have your Crazy Bird puppet. I actually think I'm going to glue the tip of his beak together. Hold it closed here. I'm going to put my finger in that little ring hole there. And there we go. He's pretty funny. I like him. And you can move him around on your arm and on your finger. I hope you enjoyed making your finger puppet Crazy Bird, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.